What a great movie. Kodachrome is one of the better or best Netflix movies that I've seen. Even still, just remembering what I just saw, it brings up all these emotions. And I'm sure for many of those that enjoyed this movie, it did also. It's a tale about a son and father that grew apart, and through the father having a terminal disease and his days are numbered, they have to go on this journey together and end up bonding, and the realization on both parts of the what could have been and ultimately what wasn't, and a father's appreciation for his son and a son's appreciation for his father. It was just a beautiful tale. It was beautifully acted. There was a lot of good actors in this, but I'm gonna focus just on the main three. You could probably hear, like I said, by my voice, I'm still kind of emotional just watching this movie. I thought it was a brilliantly well acted movie. Elizabeth Olsen, Jason Sudeikis, and Ed Harris. And I'm sorry if I messed up Jason's last name. Their performances were Oscar worthy. I don't know if this was nominated, if there was any awards, but their performances were flawless. They worked good together. The on-screen chemistry was there on all three parts. In the beginning, you kind of hated both, Ben Ryder, Matt Ryder, and they both got underneath their skin. And Zoe Kern, played by Elizabeth Olsen, being the nurse of Ben Ryder, played by Ed Harris, just kind of stuck in the middle, trying to be the mediator between father and son. Their performances were just on another level. I know a lot of people have appreciated Elizabeth Olsen's acting since WandaVision has come out, and they got an appreciation for her acting range. And I'm one of them. I wasn't familiar with her acting abilities and until I saw WandaVision, and this just came up on my Netflix feed, and I was like, oh, well, let me watch, Elizabeth Olsen away from the MCU, and she hits it out of the park. She brings her charisma, her beauty, her natural presence. She commands the screen so much where she's on there, not just because she's physically beautiful. Her soul is beautiful. Her acting is beautiful. Her portrayal of whatever she's playing, she takes her art of acting super seriously, and it's shown. Jason Sudeikis, his acting, I've always thought he was charismatic. He, depending on the role that he plays, he could come off as a little bit of an a-hole or very charismatic, charming. And in this movie, he plays both. And what can be said about Ed Herring? I feel like calling him Sir Ed Herring, but he brings just such a lost craft to acting to this role that I thought was just superb. You made it, you started off hating him and saying in your mind when you're watching the movie, what an asshole. Why does he have to be so rude? I mean, he almost, I don't know if he did break up his brother's marriage, but the way he just threw his brother's wife underneath the bus, saying that him and his brother's wife had a fling back in the days, and you're like, what a freaking asshole. And towards the end, when he passes away, and even a little bit before he passes away, you end up feeling him and understanding his pain. Now obviously it's a very unique situation, and if you haven't been estranged from a brother, a sister, a kid, a mother, a father, an uncle, or whatever, someone of importance, it probably went over your head. But you know, sometimes life gets in the ways and we tend to get bogged down in our own little circle that we lose sight of what's important, and those are the people around us. This movie was beautifully shot, especially it's almost like a love letter to how beautiful this country is as they're going from, you know, they have to get to Kansas to, you know, do the have this Kodachrome or Koda film developed. And at the end, we find out, you know, through the whole movie, where there's this hateful relationship between father and son. And yes, we have a little bit of closure, but they hit that extra note when we find out that why this film was so important to Ben was because it was the pictures of Matt and his mom. And I mean, even now, it brings a tear to my eyes, and just how beautiful this story was. And they should be commended for a great acting role. The score was great. The pacing was right on cue. I didn't find myself bored. I think it's an hour and 50 minutes. Let's just say an hour and 45 minutes. And I just thought it was great. For me, this movie was a solid A minus. There was a little bit of issues that I had. Some of the acting from the supporting cast wasn't the greatest, but it definitely, the three main stars definitely make up for it. And I definitely recommend you guys go out and check out this movie. If you are an Elizabeth Olsen fan, you will not be disappointed in her acting. And if you're a Ed Harris or Jason Sudeikis fan, you will appreciate their acting a lot more after watching this movie. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What did you think about this movie? Did you enjoy it? Did it hit a note with you? Could you relate to something in this movie and in this story? Again, I thought it was a very beautiful movie. I'm glad I watched it. But anyways, those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. And like always, that's a wrap.